The article starts with the simple observation that social activists come in many different types, and there's a variety of tactics that they have at their disposal.
There are different types of activists that approach companies for change, when typically they've been studied one at a time. So activists being either shareholder activists or religious groups or social movement organizations like Greenpeace and Rainforest Action Network.
So the article basically analyzes over 1,300 of these activist actions against firms over a 3-decade time period. And what we find is that certain types of activists, religious groups and investor activists, for example, they tend to work within the system. And so they tend to use tactics such as civil lawsuits or shareholder proxy votes against firms. Whereas other types of activists, social movement organizations, for example, they tend to work outside of the system. And so they tend to target firms using tactics such as protests and boycotts that are less targeted at the investor community and more targeted at drawing media attention to the firm and to the issue.
And those different types of tactics have very different effects. Do you care more about shareholder perceptions or do you care more about the public perceptions? Activists will probably try to take advantage of wherever you are most vulnerable.
I think we should increasingly look at the practical, strategic decisions that managers of activist groups and social movement organizations use as they become increasingly sophisticated and strategic. I think work should also examine the difficult, complex decisions that managers face in responding to these social issues. An instructor could use this article in their teaching if they're doing a class on corporate social responsibility, social movements, or even about social entrepreneurship.
If you're speaking to MBAs, they can think about the organization that they either are going to be part of or were part of, and where might their organization be particularly vulnerable to activists. Is it in the public perception, the media attention, or is it in their investor risk perceptions? And if so, which of those tactics, who might approach them and how?
And I think increasingly students are wanting to have classes and discussions around these complex issues so that they can start to understand the issues involved better before they become alumni and have to face these difficult decisions in the real world.